Alright, take two of me explaining this race. Hopefully the quality comes out better this time. I did a few test runs. It seems like it's running a little bit better. So we will see how this one goes. Coming to the green. I decided to skip qualifying this time because there's really nothing to see. It's been a few days, so I don't remember exactly all my thought processes, whereas my first video that came out like crap, I still had a pretty vivid memory of it. This I'm trying to just analyze as it's going on. For the most part, a pretty tame start to the race. I normally don't like being on the bottom lane just because like it feels like you're being squeezed a lot, especially from the people on the outside, especially with the yellow line rule. I never actually experimented with it if it's an actual thing or like if you get penalized in game or if you can be protested for it for advancing your position. I don't know how that works. But everyone seems to respect it, so kind of just fall in line with that. But yeah, it feels like you're being squeezed when you have cars on the outside of you, especially if you can't see them that well. Uh, this is my view of everything from inside. So I have a car on my outside, but I can't see them completely. I do have a triple monitor, which you can't really see much of in this. But you, you have your spotter screaming at you that there's somebody there. Not screaming, but they keep the spotter app I use is pretty good about keeping up to date. So yeah, this is a 30 lap race, fixed series. Used to have minor adjustments. You can do brake bias and steering ratio. Those are the two biggest things. Steering ratio, especially in these cars, I feel is enormous, especially super speedway racing. Because I set mine to the highest setting, which I'm pretty sure is a 16-1. It just, it really, it deadens the wheel. It's not too twitchy, not too responsive. Because you want to make fine-tuned steering. You're not cranking the wheel a lot. It's just you want to be a smooth operator through these races. Still just hanging out. There's really not much to do at this point. Just my mentality is just make it to the end of the race. These races, that's honestly all you can try to do. I don't know if there's exactly a safe spot to be in. If you watch a cup race from the other night, there's even if you're up front, it's not really a safe spot, but you don't want to be too far back in the pack either, especially a short race like this, because there's no guarantee you're going to make a way up to the front, especially if you don't have someone that's a good draft partner. So now with the 13, he got a small run, decided to try to go for the lead, but again, it's entirely too early to be doing any of that. So I'm gonna bring up the overlay just to see on the lower left. You can see my pedal inputs. Pretty much, gas pedal is down this whole time under green flag racing. You rarely ever lift. So I just give him a good push just to keep us up front, just so 13 can't get by him. It is a bit aggressive, but it kind of deters any other shenanigans. Just give him a nice push before the tri-oval. You really don't, especially the tri-oval, you don't want to be pushing. The cars get really light and unpredictable, and it's really hard to line up the bumpers. The Xfinity cars have, I don't know if it's a huge difference in iRacing. Uh, in real life, the Cup cars have much more curved, angled noses, so it's a lot harder for them to match up the bumpers on the between the cars. Whereas the Xfinity cars are still like the old school style, flatter, so you can get a good push, and you're not gonna, the chances of spinning them out are a lot lower. So get try to give him a push into turn one if I can get up there. No, it's not going to happen. You also see, if watch my brake pedal tracker, just kind of keep the gas down, but squeeze the brake pedal just to break forward momentum a little bit. That's especially something I try to do before I hit the rear bumper of the car in front of me, because I don't want to hit them full force, all my forward momentum. I want to keep it nice and smooth for them, but we still got a good shove in front of the 13 car. So we got a lap car coming up. This is always scary in super speedway racing because the closing rate is huge, and some of these cars are unpredictable. Typically, if you can help it, try to stay high as possible, or get off the track and onto the apron, just so you're not in the way. There's no confusion, and or the the very least you can do is hold your damn line. Too often you'll see somebody like riding the bottom as the pack approaches, then suddenly they go to the top. It's like it totally defeats what we were all trying to figure out. Especially with 2x2 like this, it's extremely difficult to navigate that, especially like if you're third or fourth car in line, it's hard to see what's going on up front. So I'm gonna give him a nice little shove down the backstretch. So I'm gonna drop the overlay. So one thing you do have to watch with this aggressive pushing is your water temp, the gauge on the lower leftmost gauge. Um, a good operating temperature is around like between 235 and 240. Once you start going above 240, you start wanting to be careful. That was a whole trick with the tandem drafting years ago. Was you first off you needed to find a good pushing partner, and that whole coordinating, switching out so you keep up your momentum. That was tricky. It was hard to find a good drafting partner. Oh, I forgot about this guy. Blown motor, and he's still just riding around the track. It doesn't put oil down, but it's very disconcerting with all that smoke that's on the track. Thankfully, he's just far down the apron. Outside of the line was getting a little bit of run, so just push the 22 out a little bit more. So, with 30 lap race in these cars at Daytona, you really don't need to pit. It's definitely not for gas. Tires, you're not really chewing them up. So, this is something I wasn't even worried about. I had everything checked off in case I had to pit for damage repairs. It just wasn't worth pitting for tires. So yeah, at this point, just ride, do what I can to maintain our position up front. All the while trying to manage my water temp. What's good about this guy too is he's very stable. He doesn't move around a lot. That's honestly something that's really hard to find in a lot of drivers at plate racing. But if you can find that one guy that he's just holding a straight line, not jerking around, and I just give him a good solid push down that back straightaway. So there's honestly not a lot of skill, actual like raw racing skill that goes into this. I think it's more of a fast-paced chess match, but it's at the same time it's high intensity. It it's stressful. Even a 30 lap race, it's like everything is extremely tense. Like I am mentally drained and my hands hurt from gripping the wheel so much. It's trying to like watch everything around me, see what's going on, see where the runs are coming from. Because you can't get away from each other. There's no breathing room. You know, you can be running a clean race like this, and then one screw up from you or someone from around you, it's all over. That travel is a lot more difficult than it looks. Definitely the hardest turn on this whole track. It's a lot flatter than the turns one, two, three, and four. And the rear car just gets light, especially at It's even worse at Talladega because I think the banking is even lower on on their trial, and it's longer, and the cars get so unsettled, especially on the very bottom lane. The car is so unsettled. definitely don't want to be pushing through that tri-oval. You don't even want to push it through this tri-oval. You can do it, but it's sketchy. So I just try to use this time to, let the car breathe, get the engine temp, get the water temps down. Then if I need to, I have a fresh engine to keep going. See this lap car pull all the way down out of the way. No question what's going to happen, where he's going. Yeah, pretty much only for this, as long as you don't have any damage, really only have to watch is the water temp. One thing I really do like about the Xfinity cars is they still have the analog gauges. I don't know. The Cup cars have the electronic displays now. They have had them for a couple years, but iRacing has them in the Cup cars too, and I don't like them. You can change the layout. You can get like the one you see usually on the in-car cameras in the real world, but you can also change it to a digital dash that has like what looks like round analog gauges, but it just doesn't feel the same as these. I sound like an old crotchety NASCAR fan, but I do prefer the analogs on these cars at least. Sports cars, open wheel cars, I expect the digital dash and it's not as jarring. So we got to run on the outside again and just gonna start giving them a good push. Let's go to chase camera, see what's going on out there. So we still got a good crowd around us. By this point, myself and the Mountain Dew car, Slauson, we had a pretty good working thing going. So I pretty much you get to a point where it's just like, all right, I'm running with this guy, and I commit to them. You know, I don't know how good of a pusher he would have been. I don't think we ever got to that point, but you know, we managed with what we had. See, this sucked. This guy should have either pulled off the track or gone high, but he insisted on staying low when the all the lines were basically lower. So that broke myself and Slauson up. But thankfully, we were able to pull right back up there, although it did compromise the lead for him. Wow, he was didn't notice that from the in car when I was driving, but he was getting pretty aggressive with the 13. I was definitely moving around a lot. I think I just lost my rhythm through that whole switch up with the lap car. It kind of just like threw me off my rhythm. Two cars on the outside are hooking up. think we have about supposed to have 5 laps to go. Yeah. I don't know what the hell that was about. Thankfully, everyone was cognizant of the situation, checked up. Nothing at least happened up here. Although we do have a yellow coming up, which was a shame because we had a things were really shaping up front, and it's a damn shame we couldn't see that through. Because I think it ultimately turned into a green-white checker situation. Which with those, it's hard at a track like this because it takes a full lap to even get up to speed. It's really hard to form up and make anything really happen. Kind of stuck my nose out to the side a little bit. Try to see if I can coax a 22 to go high with me. We'll go around to 13. Um, it's time to shine. We had to go. If we want to win this thing, we got to go now. Uh, so caution, just yeah. There's a big wreck behind us. Let's see if we can watch that. Whoops! Wow, there's a car right behind me. Yeah, he just went straight, turned in, out to the outside. That's weird. Yeah, he just went straight up to the outside. It's not like he was even close. He's not even close to being clear. I don't know what that was about. So I will say, on the previous version of Daytona, the original scan that they had on here from like 2007, I think, coming out of turn four, there was a big bump. Like it's something you held on to you waited for each lap because it really unsettled the cars as you're coming out of four. You know, the car's unloading as it is coming out of the turn, and you got this big ass bump, and your car just like not want to deal with it. Skip it. All right, forming up. So a lot of cars around us pitted. Like I said, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to keep this on the outside view. So the nice thing, now I'm going to go to cockpit real quick. I think I said before, I went to triple monitors. I'm not trying to brag, but this is exactly the scenario that I wanted triple monitors for. Because at me being in second place, I cannot pass the leader before the start finish line. With this view, I can't see the car to my left, so it's really hard to gauge when he's going. But with triple monitors, I can see and gauge what he's doing. So it's a green white checker, green flags out. at this point I was kind of frustrated because I was like, this is not working. It's like everyone was diving to the bottom. I never had a clear shot to get down to the bottom. So I was just like, well, now I'm boned. So like I'm trying to squeeze down as much as possible so they can't try anything that deter them to try to make a pass. But now they all move to the outside to make something happen. '22's really blocking. 11 goes high. I was like, there's my buddy 22. Screw you, 11. So just give him a big push. 4 screwed up. That gave us a big clear for the race to the win. This is us coming out of turn 4 to the checkered flag. I think if I had another lap, I could have set him up to come out. Like, I did have a run, but it was just, I didn't have enough time to, like, really back off of him and get a bigger run out of turn 4. But, no, all in all, that was an extremely fun race. Started 5th, came home 2nd, just kept it clean. That was a lot of fun. It's been a while since I had a fun race on a plate track and came home with 0x to top it off. So yeah, hope that was fun. Hopefully this video turns out better than the last one and you can actually see what's going on.